Dude, you actually made me smile.
Your worst fears to come true. So it's simple. Can't have you walking through those doors with your dick in your hand, right?
What up, Untapped fam? I'm Vector. I'm here with Waxiebeats from Arizona. So, what up, man? How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you, man?
I'm hanging in there. Pretty good, pretty good. So, how about you? How's your day so far?
Pretty good. It's been busy.
Cool, cool, cool. So, I'll pretty much like get right into it. So, first question is like, how did you get into beat making, and what made you want to become a producer?
So, growing up, I played jazz music and classical music, and then I think I first heard MF Doom, and I listened to hip hop growing up my whole life, but what really made me want to make beats was when I first heard like Mad Villain and all those, like MF Doom's album and Mad Lib. So in like 2009, that's when I started doing that.
Oh wow! So that's almost quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I know, right? I'm still using the MPC too.
And how would you describe your style? Like, is it like, just in reference to like MF Doom a little bit, or like, were you inspired like by other producers as well?
I mean, I've been inspired just from the '90s in general. I love the '90s. I love '90s music. I love '90s hip hop. I would say I tried to make beats that sounded like his when I first started, and then everything just kind of took off and I just didn't even just do my thing now, so I don't know, like boom bap, kind of like lo-fi kind of sound. That's what I like to try and do.
Oh, cool, cool. And then as far as like, besides those genres, like, have you tried like experimenting with other genres, or like do you stick to just that particular like boom?
Yeah, I mean, I like in producing and only, or just music in general. What do you mean? Like,
I would say like producing in general.
Yeah, producing, like, I mean, I'm always listening to the newest like hits that come out. I listen to everything, so whatever is going on in the industry, I still mess around with that, but on my own time, I do my own thing. I use that for reference, just to keep up, see what the other producers are doing. So, like, like Metro Boomin and stuff. I still try. I listen to all those guys just because they're doing some crazy stuff too. So, just to learn some new tips and tricks from listening to their music helps a lot too.
Cool, cool. I guess my next question is like, for you, what was a celebrity artist that you got the opportunity to work with?
Ooh, I mean, right now I could think of Joey Badass for sure would be one. Static Selector would be a dope producer to work with. Let's see, probably those two. Just quick off the top of my head, I would have to say Joey Badass for sure.
No, cool, awesome.
Currency too. He'd be dope to work with him. Currency. But.
Have you ever worked with a couple like well-known artists, as far as like, well, the underground aspect of it? Like, I heard that you work with Scoop DeVille. How was that?
Yeah, he's pretty dope. Yeah, he's an awesome producer. He gives good feedback too. He's really humble dude. He's always down to talk about his music, my music. So it's good. I talk to him. It's good to talk to him. We exchange sounds. I exchanged sounds with Sledgren too. Sometimes, Wiz Khalifa is one of his producers. Illmind producer. Not any rappers though, honestly. No, yeah, just producers, just sharing sounds with each other, learning from each other.
Oh, sweet, sweet. What made you want to get into the hip hop culture in general?
Oh man, my first album growing up was Licensed to Ill by Beastie Boys, and then I got All Eyes on Me. Those were my two. Like my aunt gave me those on tape,
What?
and I got The Chronic too. So those were like my three albums when I was a kid, and I was like, damn. I don't know, man. It's just something about it makes you feel good. There's like a feeling you get from hip hop. It's unlike anything else, And hip hop's worldwide, so it's beautiful. I love it.
Right, I totally agree with you. Like, even like when I first heard Nujabes, like, man, just his whole grasping concept, like, and what kind of tripped me out at the time is, I believe like Dilla and Nujabes were born on the same day. So
yeah, dude, that's what's weird is Dilla's my all-time, like, he's my top. But I didn't even find out about him until like 2 or 3 years after I started making beats. So it's interesting. But once I heard him, I'm like, damn, like, yeah, he's one of my top influences too. So,
as far as like a workflow between going back between school and work in general, like how is that? How do you find time to balance that out with like producing?
Man, it's hard. I mean, you're a student too, so and working. So it's like you just gotta put in the time whenever you can. When you gotta keep everything balanced, like everything in your life. You gotta do some of this. You gotta go back to that. That's all. Making beats and music and producing is like what keeps me sane. So, like. School, I couldn't even get through school probably if I didn't have that as my my outlet. It's good. It's hard though. It's hard. There's not really any special technique. I just kind of like do a little bit of this, go over here, do some of that, and then come make time for this. Just trying to balance time out, mentally.
Oh, I see. How much like sleep do you get? Like, do you get like very little sleep or like?
Yeah, I mean, I love sleep, so I try and get as much sleep as I can. I prioritize sleep, but you get in those modes sometimes where you're like ready and you're productive and you're feeling it and you're like you're driven, you're motivated, and then you just want to keep going. So during that time, I'm not getting very much sleep, maybe like 4 hours, 3 hours a day, but. Mm-hmm. But when I'm not in that mode and I'm kind of like trying to find inspiration or like trying to like learn from something else, learn from my surroundings, I get more sleep then. I leave time for that. It's just all about balance. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I noticed like in your social media, like you have like a real good following right now at the moment. Like, has there like been people like like I want to say getting tongue tied here. Has anybody like went to your like Instagram and like requested like hey how much is your beats, or like try to reach out to you in terms of like, hey, how can
have people done that? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Actually, that's why I launched the website, because it's like the DMs, it's too much, like on Instagram. And another problem is like other people in other countries. Like I've noticed, like my following is all over the place. So like I'll get people from Africa, I'll get people from Mexico, from like from like Rio de Janeiro, and they want beats, but I mean, I can't always be giving away free beats, and it's really hard to like tell those people like, I can't.
So,
but yeah.
And dang, that's wow. So like some people have been asking like, yo, hey, can I have a free beat, or like
it happens all the time. And I have like the people I work with, they kind of balance it out. I don't give free beats out really at all anymore, just because I've been doing this for so long now. I can't do that anymore. So
right.
I use that money from that it helps me like get inspired. I go support my crate digging habit because I spend too much money on records, and then I can get inspired like that. I can buy new instruments and stuff. So it's good for everyone. Like everyone wants free beats all the time, but we gotta support each other, help each other out, so we can grow together.
Right, exactly. And I think that's what a lot of people, or I should say some people, fail to understand. Like, you gotta support each other as far as like the craftsmanship and like whatever you do.
And we're all about supporting each other, and it's really hard to like do that, especially in the hip hop community, because hip hop is hip hop. So it's like it's so hard to be trying. Yeah, like I want money. Like it's not like it's not like I don't know. It's like hip hop is like it's not just music. It's everything. Like graffiti, whatever. Like the culture it's hard to get that. If you're making like trap beats, it's a lot easier to sell those. Yeah. Because the people that want to buy those are just like whatever, and they just think about the money, and they want to, it's all about that. So it's hard in the market with like, old school kind of like underground hip hop.
Right. I guess my last question would be is what advice could you give to an untapped artist or any producers in general that are just getting their feet wet?
Yeah, I would say don't focus on what everybody else. I mean, do research, see what everyone else is using, like the DAWs or the equipment. But I mean, you can use whatever. People are always like, man, like, what do you use? Like, what DAW do you use? What kind of equipment do you use? And I'm like, man, it doesn't even matter. I mean, I tell them, but I'm just saying you can. As long as you know what you want to sound like, you can make that happen with anything. You don't need to have Pro Tools or like whatever to make it happen, So like, you can work off the most minimal. You can work off the most minimal shit. It doesn't need to be like. You don't need to be in the studio to be like doing this stuff. Like a big, like paying somebody hundreds of dollars an hour to use their studio. Like, just find your sound, and you can do it with whatever you got.
Cool word.
Just takes a little bit of effort, but yeah.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time out of your day to chopping it up with us, but again,
that was quick.
LBJ.
Don't get hip hop.